So guys, Labour's just proposed adding national insurance to landlords' rents, and if it goes through, it could shake up the entire UK rental market. But here's the thing, while most landlords panic, the old ones are selling discounted stock and leaving the game, it leaves the door wide open for savvy investors structuring investments the right way, big companies, which I'll go into in a minute, to take advantage of this housing shortage, which is never going to change. Guys, let's get into the video. I'll show you why this is actually a good thing for serious property investors such as yourself.
I wonder whether, if they put this tax on, it'll mean the big firms like Serco, not just BlackRock, but big firms like Serco, they'll empty the hotels of the 32,000 migrants and put them in some of these houses.
So, under the new proposal, landlords will pay national insurance on rental profits, and basically they're going to tax it like self-employed joiners, electricians. When you do your SA 302, it'll be taxed exactly the same way with your national insurance, which is really funny because didn't Labour last year, when they were trying to just won the election, say that landlords are not working people, yet we're getting taxed in exactly the same way as working self-employed people. Now, when I say we, I don't mean me, and the reason is I structure my clients' portfolios in a tax-efficient limited company. And guys, why are they doing this? Well, the reason is, if we go onto this board, I think it's political, a tax raid obviously, and strategic control. They want landlords or in general people not to own property. Their friends, the big BlackRocks, the Lloyd banks, which I've gone through many times, I predicted this last year, are going to be buying up, and they already are buying up build to rent properties. So they're building it to rent, so everyone will become renters. This is a socialist agenda, but we can't just blame it on this government. It's previous governments before, and it's basically a method of control and keeping the lower classes, the middle classes down. The less financial freedom you have, the more they can control you, and the more the system works for their benefit. So guys, in the same week that they announced this potential, and let's be honest, probably will be, national insurance on tax raid on landlords, the Deputy Prime Minister herself, Angela Rayner, has come out that she avoided, which is not illegal, but it doesn't look good, avoided stamp duty on one of her properties by swapping the deeds and swapping the main residence allowance between properties which she was flipping, and saved £40,000 in stamp duty. You couldn't make it up, guys. They're not playing by the same rules. I've said this time and time again. If you want to get on, own property and play by the big boy rules, like I've done for clients. I'm going to put on the screen now all these properties which we source for clients under limited companies. They won't be affected by all this. And guess what? We're taking advantage of council schemes, 5-year social housing deals, no maintenance. We're playing the game that they're playing, that the Lloyds Bank, that BlackRock investment companies, the biggest private equity from the US. This is exactly what they're doing. We're getting in on it because guess what? If you're in the same room, you're going to get wealthy as well, guys. You cannot do the old school way of being a landlord, buying a property, the same price as market value, and renting to a family and hoping you're going to make a few £1,000s a month. You're not going to happen. The average old school landlord makes like 2k a year. Okay, guys? The biggest portfolio landlords make hundreds of thousands, if not millions a year. How? By taking advantage, by playing the game smartly. This is exactly how I've helped all my clients. Look at the properties we bought just in the last year. We've done it time and time again. And what's the number one thing I've always said to landlords? Set up your limited company, do it efficiently, buy below market value, get it rented, no headache, and go on to your next one fast as possible. Take advantage of our amazing leverage, amazing schemes that we have with funders, and just get at it. Because guess what? The less property there are in the UK, the more power the property owners have. They're benefiting themselves. Do you think the Labour politicians don't own property? They've got minimum 2 or 3 each, and I'm not talking about little houses at 100k. Guys, it's clear. It's clear as day. Now, what effect is this actually going to have? Before I go into helping you guys out, and guys, please like and subscribe. If you do me a big favour, I'll drop you the in-depth news as it comes out live and direct. Not only that, I'm probably one of the only people who's not afraid to say the actual truth as to what's happening in the UK property investment and even rental market, guys. So what's happening is there's going to be less landlords. The supply is already going down. This has happened since the last few years. The supply is already going down. Rental prices are going up. Okay, the more supply dwindles, the more rental prices go up. Individual landlords are selling, and it's not always a bad thing. You know, if you've been in the game 50 years, you've made 200 grand on each house. Are you really going to put up with all this, or are you going to sell and enjoy your money? Okay, on this channel, we want you to invest and get your money out and be living financially free within 3 to 5 years. That's the goal for everyone. We've got clients who've done it in 12 months, guys. But supply is going down, rental prices are going up. Section 24, you can't evict tenants anymore. That's just forcing landlords, individual landlords, to sell properties, and guess who's buying? We are, as well as the likes of BlackRock, Lloyds, etc., etc. Section 8, now, so landlords are now going to be forced to use Section 8, which is evicting tenants based on rent arrears, okay? So now more tenants are going to have CCJs. It's going to be harder for them to get rental properties. Again, who is losing out? The average working class person, potentially middle class. The guys at the top are cleaning up, and we should be too, guys. So how are we getting around this? Okay, so obviously we're buying well. We're buying under the right limited company structures. We are taking advantage of schemes which tax avoidance is not illegal, guys. Tax evasion is illegal, tax avoidance isn't. So as much as I said Angela Rayner dodged tax, it wasn't evadance, it was avoidance, and it's totally legal. And guess what? We take advantage of those rebates and schemes as well. Sometimes we don't pay stamp duty on property. Sometimes I buy properties from probate. Sometimes I buy properties from exempt traders or trade them on, okay? And there's a lot of exemptions that the big boys know about and we do not. If you're doing this as an amateur without being educated, how are you going to know what these people know? They have the best advisors around them. Get yourself a good advisor and you'll be winning, guys. So we've got Section 24 coming in. We've got rising interest rates, although they're starting to go now. We've got EPC, which everyone's scared of, which I can guarantee is going to get kicked down the road again. But all this is meaning that there's less and less landlords. And guess what? There's more profitable deals for us to take advantage of, get all our money back out and go again. It's actually never been, since I've been buying property in 2009-10, when I started, there's never been an easier time to get deals. Even in the recession, you'd still be lucky if you nicked 10 grand on a deal and had to do the full refurb. Yes, building rates were cheaper, but still, you couldn't refinance out because obviously surveyors kept on down valuing. Now, you can get, especially if you're buying tenant properties, you can get really, really big discounts and do nothing. And just manage your tenant out. So, you know, we're cleaning up, guys. Every time new legislation hits the market, weaker landlords sell. It's the same in any business, but especially property. That's what happened when Section 24 was introduced. And do you know who benefited? The larger landlords. It's going to happen again and again and again, guys, until the power is held by 5 or 6 big investment companies and maybe me and you if we've got 20, 30 properties in a limited company. The days of owning 4 properties and still having a job and doing it as a little pension, side income, side hustle is well done. You do it professionally, do it well, go hard or go home, and you'll be rich and wealthy and financially free before you know it, guys. Okay, so I've put on screen the properties which we've done this year and how it's not even going to be affected by this. I'm helping properties. We're also targeting key areas in the Northwest where other investment companies are buying. Why? Because when they buy, they make sure the prices go up. They invest in those areas, the Northwest. Look at Manchester. Look at around the ripple effect going on. Okay, we let them do the risk, let them get in early. We're getting just after they've started infrastructure projects and we're buying up these areas. And guess what, guys? We're buying below market value, remortgaging back out. We know it's a high growth area. We're not doing unrealistic commercial revaluations where you buy a house in Wales, suddenly it's worth 4 times more than you paid for it because you made it into 10-bed HMO, rented it to Serco to house illegal immigrants. As soon as the scheme changes, who's going to rent a house? No one. We're not doing that. We're just buying it, keeping it simple and making loads of money in the process. Okay? Whether it's HMO, below market value, rent to rent, all of that, we can build serious cash flow and get it invested in property. Guys, let me know what you think. I know a lot of people watching this channel are older landlords or, you know, landlords with 4 properties and may not necessarily have a limited company. Guys, don't worry, my accountant has published some guidance on how you can avoid this national insurance potential policy. Yes, in the comments if you want our free investment guide as well. It's got all the details in it, how I work with clients and how to really build a good portfolio. And guys, time and time again, I always say this, don't message me or book a call and go through, I'm worried about EPC, I'm worried about this, I'm worried about that. It's designed to shake out the market. It's designed to get rid of people who are worrying about it and let the serious players take over and clean up. If you want to be a serious player, you can't be ringing up and going, I don't want to buy this property because it's an EPCD. You're going to go, Niv, how do we get around this problem? And I will provide the solution. Niv, how do we get around this tax raid? How do we get around not being able to evict tenants? Well, we don't rent to tenants in the first place. We'll do corporate lets. These are just examples that we deal with day in, day out for clients on how to build a UK property portfolio. Now, guys, this is a really important point. If UK property wasn't attractive, do you think it would be in the news all the time? Even with the immigrant protests, the Serco, the housing of asylum seekers, all of the unrest is due to property, because property in the UK is one of the most valuable assets you can own around the world. I own a multi-million pound villa in Marbella. I can tell you now that never really, I mean, I bought it below market value, but it never really gets affected as much as this. It's never really in the news. It's a place to park money, but active investment, the UK is a core. It's like the gold mine. That's why US companies are buying up here. That's why the Labour changes stuff all the time, but have one rule for them and one rule for everybody else. That's why there's protests on the streets due to housing, asylum seeker contracts. Okay, where's it going to? Their mates. Why are they housing people in hotels when they can house them in properties? It's all a method of extracting as much money as possible and controlling the population, guys. But we can take advantage of the housing shortage. We can take advantage of council rental schemes. We can take advantage of all of this, build a secure future for ourselves, knowing that UK property will always be steady or going up, guys. It's not like Dubai where they're building skyscrapers and big towers to house everyone. Every week there's a new development. You don't see that in UK. They don't want it. They don't want it. Why would the government, the royal family, big ministers who own land in and around everywhere in the UK want their property prices to be devalued by more and more building? Why would that? Why would I want that? Yeah, I might want developments in Manchester to push up my prices, but I don't want like 10 new cities equivalent to Manchester popping up everywhere, because it's going to devalue the house prices and the rents. They could easily do that, but they don't want it, guys. So you're in safe hands knowing that the vested interest of the higher echelons of society will keep property prices rising like they always have done in the UK, guys. This is another clear example of how, if you've got a business, we have a lot of clients who have restaurants, etc. They come to us with a big pot of money to invest. Why? Because restaurants can change overnight. Business can change overnight. Even as a professional athlete clients, they could, the careers can stop overnight. What's not going to stop overnight? Property's always been in demand in the UK and always will be, guys. Whether there's asylum seekers, whether there's students, whether it's housing people who are not working, there's so much variety, whether it's Airbnb. If you want to actually stop worrying about all these policies, take advantage, every time there's a new policy, I go, yes, let's buy some more property. Yes, in the comments below, subscribe to the channel, and you will join me on a yacht in Marbella with rental income. Let's get it.